Welcome back. We're back again to episode. Oh God!
Set myself up for a fall here.
I'm gonna go with
last count.
I'm gonna go with
5?
six.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with
exactly.
6 of the Yellow Show.
It's been that long since Matt did anything Warrington Town.
Here we go. Here we go.
He's forgot what.
Yes, it is common knowledge around the Warrington Town fan base and media base, as it would imagine, that my chronic part-timerism seems to peak at this time of year. But I am here. I am, of course, Matt Turner for the Warrington Guardian. This is my esteemed colleague, James Gordon. And, esteemed might be a bit of a...
Esteemed? I'd take esteemed. That's
I'd take esteemed?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, you've got to keep me sweet. If you don't go to the matches, how else would you get reports?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm hoping my part-timeism is clearing up now.
We
just
can't have many more Saturdays. The Wolves now, sure?
No, I don't think so. It just happened to fall on the first 2 games of the season. But there's a little bit of evidence, Town fans, that it may even be spreading to you. The infallible James Gordon.
Yeah, I am. To be honest, I'm still a bit bitter about this. I'm still a bit gutted because I was hoping to do every single game this season, and on the 19th of January I missed the Lancaster game because I was rotten ill. I had like a 24-hour bug thing that my little lad had and ended up going to hospital with, and honestly, I have to be pretty bad not to go. I mean, I went to Whitton, remember I went to Whitton and I was rotten on Boxing Day.
You say you went to Whitton.
Well, you didn't see him, but other people saw him. I literally, the only time I got out of bed over Christmas was to go to Whitton and to go to Baseford. Yeah. And I was rotten the rest of the time. So I'm honestly, I'm absolutely pig sick that I missed Lancaster.
Quite literally.
Especially because it was home as well. I mean, if I was missing South Shields away, for instance, but to miss a home game knowing that it's happening like 20 minutes up the road is so I'm gutted about that. But obviously I'll just have to say I missed one.
Yeah.
I could say I did every away game.
You can, yeah, that's still on. That's still on. Barring any late injury or illness, obviously.
Yeah.
If anyone can vouch for the fact that he was at Whitton, by the way, because I can't.
No,
please do get in touch.
Please do get in
touch. Please do get in touch.
I had a bit of a barney with a Whitton fan outside the ground. Actually, did we not talk about this one time?
Possibly.
Oh,
tell the ladies and gentlemen.
Some Whitton fan was obviously at Whitton. There's quite a big car park, so everyone's parked in, and obviously I got to the game. I think I got to the game pretty late because obviously I was ill. And obviously I've parked, the stewards have told me to park here. Anyway, I'm walking back to my car and I can see like someone struggling to reverse out and someone else guiding him. I was like, alright, I'm here mate now, I'm moving. He's like, why have you parked there? Effing and Jeffing, giving me a lot, I'm here. And he's like, well, you're stupid, why have you parked there? I was like, that's where they told us to park. There's like a row of cars next to me. And it's like, I was like, if you hadn't just moaned at me and kicked off, it'd have been shifted by now.
Yeah.
But obviously he was just bitter because they got beat.
Yeah.
So.
It seems implausible that you could block someone in on that massive car park.
Well, yeah. But anyway, so we haven't done one, and we've written down the results here.
Yeah.
We haven't done one since Farsley, which we did on location.
We did.
3-3 draw.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, was a decent result. Really,
it was.
From 3-1 down.
Yeah, it was. And it was one of them. I think if anything other than a draw really would have been unfair on either side. I don't think either side deserved to win or lose, to be fair. Certainly Warrington did deserve to lose. But since then, obviously they got beat by Scarborough, which is their only defeat since November, I think.
Yeah, I mean, based on what's happened since that game, that's not proved out to be really a massive setback, because at the time, I mean, I know Scarborough had sort of wobbled, hadn't they? But Scarborough has sort of been cut adrift a little bit now.
Yeah.
And so losing that match wasn't perhaps as catastrophic as it might have been maybe 2 months ago.
No, there was a bit of a worry, obviously, coming off the back of that, and then the Lancaster game, which was, I'm sure everyone associated with Town will admit, was a poor performance, and they were bailed out by a superb Tony Gray free kick. But like you say, since then they've had 3 convincing wins against Grantham, Gainsborough, which was arguably one of the more impressive results of the season, although since then Gainsborough are threatening to go on a bit of a nosedive, and then obviously at home to Hensford last weekend.
The Gainsborough one, obviously at the time, and I mean it's still a great result, 4-1, but it's interesting, obviously Gainsborough lost 5-0 to Farsley on Tuesday night, which now means that Farsley have gone top of the league on goals scored. because Gainsborough have been, because Scarborough have fallen away a little bit, Gainsborough have been on the cusp of getting into the playoffs, and then they've just sort of bottled it a little bit now.
Yeah, no one still wants to take it.
And what was interesting was, against Warrington it was the same, where it was quite even 15-20 minutes, and then Warrington scored 2 in quick succession, and the same happened on Tuesday night with Farsley against Gainsborough, where Gainsborough conceded 3 goals, I think, in 8 minutes, something like that, and so that's a worry for them. The good thing about that result, though, for Warrington is that, I think we were talking about this last night, I think Warrington are now 13 points clear of Gainsborough, who've only got 11 games left.
Yeah.
Now, Gainsborough heading the teams. I mean, the reality is that you're probably looking at Gainsborough, probably the only team, really, that are outside the playoffs that could probably catch Warrington. I mean, Buxton have threatened it, but everyone else is just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Matlock have fallen away. Hyde sort of, one week you look at the table and you're surprised they're up there because they've won a few, and then before you know it, they've disappeared. Baseford have completely fallen off. You know, and so you sort of, at least, you know, I mean, obviously we want more than playoffs, but
of course, yeah,
getting into the playoffs now looks like a fair bet.
It would take a pretty spectacular collapse in form, from not just from Warrington, but from anyone in that current sort of top 4.
And of course, you know, Gainsborough or whoever it is would have to win. You know,
they would.
Ultimately, Warrington would have to lose 4 games, and Gainsborough win all theirs.
Yeah.
Which obviously ain't going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that South Shields. I mean, we'll go and look ahead at the South Shields game in a bit, but looking back over what's happened is, you know, Nantwich are still quietly getting on with it. South Shields have had 2 bad results going into the Warrington game, which has sort of taken the shine off it a little bit, because it was going to be first and second, and now it's second v third.
It was, yeah.
Which is Farsley's credit. I mean, I sort of thought maybe if Farsley looked at last night and thought, well, Warrington won here by the required goals they needed to go top on goal difference, didn't they? And it was almost like, was it a bit of a statement from them to say, well, actually, you know, we can just do that as well, and we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to take your hat off to Farsley. I mean, I'd not ruled out them obviously going above them on goal difference, because, you know, Farsley are a very capable team going forward, and as we saw at Farsley, they barely created anything but still scored 3 goals.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect them on
you wouldn't.
5 goals away from home.
No, you wouldn't. Absolutely not. So yeah, we were setting it up to be first v second, whichever way round it was on Saturday. But you know, it's still a big game. But yeah, carrying on looking back. I mean, since we were last with you, the one major performer in the team. Well, everyone's obviously been a major performer, but the guy who just almost come out of nowhere is Big Josh Amos, who's all of a sudden on an absolute roll and has scored 8 goals in 6 games, which is, it's a hell of a New Year's resolution, because it's all happened since the turn of the year, hasn't it? For him?
2 things on this, Matt. After the Farsley game, which was his breakthrough game almost, he got the 2 goals late on to make 3-3. As he was walking out of the ground and we were packing up in press box, I said to him, here he is.
Yeah.
Goal machine.
Yeah.
And he was, I think he quit back saying something, oh, it's about time, something like that.
Yeah.
And obviously, since then he's been banging them in. I mean, I think, obviously, one of the things that we've talked about on these shows quite regularly is that Warrington's defence is second to none in the league. You know, it's still unbelievably better than anybody else's defensive record. You know, obviously because they had that run, but even still. But I think the other sort of facets of that was we were always a bit worried about the lack of goals, but that seems to now have been completely eased. I mean, you know, you're looking at 10 goals in the last 3 games. You know, granted against to be fair, Gainsborough are up there. I mean, Hensford. To be fair to Hensford and Grantham, they're probably better than what their position suggests.
Yeah.
But I think that's the key thing with Amos, particularly, is he's now filled a void, which was actually, if you were to come up with one reason why Warrington couldn't win the league, it would be goals, because it's not the defence, it's not the goalkeeper, it's not a lack of experience. You know, you could argue lack of depth, but then I think you could argue that for any team in non-league football, because no one's sat there carrying 4 or 5 players spare, are they? Really?
No.
You know, so I think that is the difference maybe from this year to last year now, especially if Amos can carry on. And to be fair, Tony Gray is scoring at his fair share as well. It's got to be noted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he gives you options, Amos, doesn't he? Because he can do it all. If you want to play more direct, you can obviously play it up to him, and he can win flick-ons, hold the ball up, etc. If you want to play it in behind, he's quick and he's strong. He can do that. He has got. I say it a lot at games. He has got all the raw materials physically to be a real handful, not just at this level, but levels above as well. And he's clearly a confidence player, isn't he? And it's just what confidence can do. I mean, you see it all the way up the league. You look at someone like Marcus Rashford, for example, who's looked a completely different player when he's still with a bit of confidence, and he's all of a sudden he can't miss. And it's like Amos at the moment. Everything just seems to be going his way. If you look at his first goal on Saturday, he's missed he's had a one-on-one. The keeper's made a good save, but the rebound's popped up nicely for him to head in. Maybe in sort of September, October, they might not have sat up for him like that.
Well, I think with that goal, I think you rewind it even before he gets the shot, because ultimately all it was a hoof.
Oh yeah,
guarantee. It was just a clearance. But Amos has got his head down and chased it. Now, not every striker would have chased that down, because it was a bit of a lost cause. I mean, the keeper had a bit of a mare. He should have come for it and he didn't. But at the end of the day, Amos showed the desire, because obviously they look at him as a big guy and they don't think he'll have that desire to run.
No.
We saw it at Baseford was a good example. I think it was Baseford, where he came off the bench. Was that? Oh, I can't remember now. But Baseford I think he came off the bench at Baseford, and he was just hassling the defenders. But obviously a defender would look at him and they think, right, we're going to get a physical battle here. But he gives them that. He still does all the workhorse type stuff that other players might have done. A bit like Jamie McDonald last season. I think Scarborough was the game where he got in a real battle at Scarborough, and I think I wouldn't say he struggled, but I think because Scarborough were perhaps more dominant than any other team have been against Warrington, he wasn't able to get as many scraps as he has been in the other games.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Scarborough, I can't think of his name now, but I thought the Scarborough centre-back, the 6, was probably the best, well, outside of Warrington, certainly the best defender I've seen in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, if he can carry on, you say it all the time, goals. You need a goal scorer. I think that was the only thing really that let Warrington down last year, and it's like, even the Lancaster one with Tony Gray, a free kick at the end, even though it was only a point, it's still a point. Without that point, Warrington, wouldn't be joint top.
Of course not, and that's a point they gained from a game in which they were poor, and they were as poor as I've seen them for a long time, and they'll happily admit that, but they've come out of it having not lost. And it is an often used cliche. I know we use it a lot, but it is true. Good teams find a way.
And I think we saw some examples of that before Christmas. The Buxton game was a good example of that.
Whitton again.
Well, yeah, Whitton. Yeah. So it's like you sat here now and you do. It's all on. It's wide open.
It is.
I think the thing is the deeper into the season you go, the more gutted you're going to be now if we don't go up. Yeah,
I mean it is so tight. I mean from a neutral perspective, anyone who's watching it from a neutral perspective, it must be great to have a genuinely wide open title race, because obviously last year I know we pushed Alty as far as we could, but they ended up winning the title quite comfortably. The season before, Blythe Spartans completely ran away with it. So, but this year, any one of 4 teams could win it at the moment, and it's not often that you say that. There's no real clear favourites, and we're at what, 13 games to go?
I mean, I think the difference with last season is because you've got 4 teams involved. It was like Altrincham were pretty much top for most of the season, and then Warrington just got within a point at one point, and then Altrincham just kicked away again. Whereas Altrincham almost got away with slipping up for a bit. Whereas this season, because there's 4 teams, if you slip up, you're reliant on 3 other teams slipping up. Whereas Altrincham got, because Warrington fell away, Altrincham were fine. I'm not saying they didn't deserve to win the title, because they did, but everyone's expecting, and I'm still expecting Nantwich to fall away. They've got the tougher run of games. I think Farsley have got the best fixtures coming up. for the running. I think obviously Warrington are at Workington in a few weeks, which is a toughie, and I think South Shields have got to go there as well.
I had a look at the fixtures, just had a look at them, in front of me, and I think you pick out this month. February is the key month. If you looked at it at the start, you're playing 3 of the top 6, obviously away at Gainsborough and South Shields, and then home to Nantwich. If they come out of this month, there's 10 games left. Only 2 of them are against any of the current top 6, and both of them are at home against Scarborough, who are obviously threatening Gainsborough, who are just threatening to implode a little bit. But it's games like Workington, who a couple of weeks ago were adrift, but now they're putting together some results, especially at home. And
well, I think that's the
other
thing when you look at the fixtures, because an easy game, or what you perceive to be an easy game now, may not be in 2 months' time, because if a team's fighting near, Hensford's probably a good example of that, where Hensford have recruited virtually a whole new team, and obviously Warrington were perhaps fortunate that they played him so early in Nicky Eden's rate. Now, I thought Warrington were pretty comfortable on Saturday, but in a few weeks, that Hensford team may be performing considerably better than they are now.
Yeah, I think.
Grantham, good example. You would never have put Grantham Tuesday night, new managers, few new signings, bang, beat South Shields. You wouldn't have said that.
No, you wouldn't.
And it's like there'll be loads of games like that between now and the season. You just got to hope that there's not many of them involved in Warrington, basically.
Yeah, there's plenty of twists and turns to come, and as I said, plenty of points to be won and lost. But in the last couple of weeks, someone else I want to pick up on who's come into the team, and you're going to love this because he's the man is your absolute man crush. Is Sean? Oh, I would. He can't get away with a match day with James Gordon without him mentioning Sean Bealey. That he is his complete man crush. Whenever he walks past him on the bus, he shies a little bit. He goes a bit red. But no, you are a big fan of Sean Bealey, aren't you?
No, I think with Bealey I just think he adds something that you can't really put your finger on, but he just breaks up the play, and he's very aggressive. He gets stuck in. I just feel like players don't have a comfortable afternoon when he's playing.
Yeah.
And I think was it the Hensford game away? Did he only come off the bench in that Hensford game? I can't remember.
I think so, yeah.
I think there's a few games where Garrity's a great player, but he's not. And as much as he puts his foot in and he's good on the ball, he's not an enforcer type. He's not horrible, and that might come later in his career. He's only young. Whereas you feel with Bealey, if someone's going to be horrible, he's going to. And the Hensford game was the one I thought. I can't think what the Hensford captain was called, but he had Garrity in his pocket that day, and that was just because he got into him early doors, and that was it. Whereas I don't think Bealey, that would never happen with Bealey. He gets stuck in. He puts his foot in. He gets up for headers. He battles above his size, and obviously he's played a lot of games at a higher level, and he knows how it works. And I think sometimes when Robbie Evans plays, and I think Robbie Evans is a good player, I think they miss that little bit of tenacity that necessarily maybe when Evans plays, more of that has to go on to Garrity's shoulders, which maybe then restricts him a little bit. But having said that, there's been games that Evans has turned on its head. I think Baseford was one.
Yeah.
Did he go to Baseford?
I didn't go, but
that was certainly one where he ran it in the second half.
Yeah, he can't. I think against teams that are low down, teams that are going to sit off and allow you possession of the ball, I think Robbie Evans would be suited to that because he's someone who can find a pass. I'm not saying Bealey can't, by the way, because he also is a very good technical footballer. But I think
certainly in against the better teams.
100%. I mean, I think in games like Saturday, in games against teams in and around you, and in the running in general, I think you need players and characters like Sean Bealey, like Mark Roberts, like Dave Rader, and people like that.
Obviously now there's a little bit of there's obviously this pressure a little bit now that you've got Amos who started scoring goals, but you need to have Tony Gray's got to play every week, in my opinion, and it's like, so you've got to have the 2 forwards. So then that sort of removes the desire, shall we say, to only play one up top, doesn't it? Which sometimes we've seen. Yeah. Got a few issues at the moment with wingers. Obviously, McCreff's out and Reed's out, and that's But then, having said that, Jack Dunn's been brilliant. So it's like
he's probably been one of, if not the best player in the side in the last in the last couple.
Well,
of
I think
months.
I said to you at one of the games, if Dunn carries on playing the years, he'll get in the team of the year. He'll get in the league's team of the year. That's how good he's been.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, he hadn't played really many games for Warrington in that before, in the sort of pre-bonfire period.
He very rarely has a quiet game, doesn't he? He's very rarely out of the game, and I think another thing that is valuable about him is his delivery from set pieces. It's got a wicked delivery on him, and it does cause all sorts of problems. But hopefully, they'll have Jack McCreth back. If not this weekend, maybe next, and Don Reed as well.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they do against South Shields, because it's always, I suppose that's always one of the tricky ones when you're near the top, is do you just carry on playing your way and let them adapt to you, or do you try and adapt to them?
I think you've got to, especially given, the way South Shields have had a little bit of a wobble. They dropped points onto Bamber Bridge, which again, another one that nobody saw, especially at 3-1 up with 10 minutes to go. And then obviously getting beat by Grantham. I think you could say it's a good time to play him, but also you could say it's a...
Well, yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? It's always the thing, if a team loses the week before, you're always thinking, oh, here we go, they're going to be like fired up. But then we thought that about Scarborough a few weeks ago when they started losing games, and they just carried on losing games.
I think Paul Carden doesn't seem the type, and this group of players don't seem the type to sort of to go into their shell and bend for anyone else. I think they'll go there with an attitude of you bend to us, adapt to us.
I think one of the things as well is what can you learn from the games that you've lost. So obviously you won't go into the game thinking that you're going to lose. You go into the game thinking, well, point would be brilliant and win would be unbelievable. But it's like the Scarborough game away is a good example where Warrington were battered them basically in the first half. And then whatever happened at half time, it was a completely different game, to the fact that they could have played forever and Warrington probably wouldn't have scored in that second half. And it's like, and then they lost that game 1-0. So it's like, what lessons can you learn from that game as to, well, how did we control the first 45 minutes, but then we were second best, And obviously you've not got a divine right to be the better team for 90 minutes against Scarborough and South Shields. Because, it's worth noting as well that South Shields get 4 or 5 times the crowds of Warrington. So, Scarborough probably get 3 or 4 times. Imagine the budget, imagine the money that these guys are bringing in and able to invest on the players. And obviously, when you've got the 11 versus 11 on the pitch, you wouldn't necessarily say that South Shields team's worth more than the Warrington team. But, it obviously plays a part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know when they went to Farsley, they had to sort of change and adapt the team a little bit, but there were a few sort of mitigating circumstances. I think Jack McCreth pulled out quite late. The pitch was a complete cow field, so you do have to sort of adapt to that. But I think they will. I can see them sort of trying to go up there and impose their game on South Shields, which is what they did at home. I remember the game. South Shields, they came and knocked the ball around for 20 minutes without really making a dent. But as soon as Warrington got in front, the fantastic goal from Bowen Dixon, I remember rightly.
Yeah.
They just imposed themselves on them, and then they couldn't really live with it.
I suppose that's the other thing, is how much a South Shields going to use that first game as motivation. Because I remember speaking to the South Shields manager after the game, and he was very bitter about it, and very, he wasn't happy with how it had gone. And it's how much and whether teams are capable of doing that. Really focusing in on this team and thinking, we can do this. But then at the same time, Warrington could go into it and think, well, we've had these before.
Yeah.
We've got a pretty decent away record as things go. We're not scared of anyone. The crowd will play a part, because I think I've never actually been South Shields, so I'm looking forward to it, because you know what I'm like. I like to tick off new grounds. I'm approaching 200, so
very good.
This will knock me towards that number. But I think it'd be interesting to see how the crowd impact on the game, because obviously when you've got 1800's unheard of at this level in terms of crowd figures, and it's like, if South Shields get their fans up behind them before early doors, it's going to be a massive uphill task. But if Warrington can start upsetting them a little bit, and and obviously, as we've seen at games with people like Mitch Duggan have got the capability to do that, it's that'll be interesting to see whether that can play back. 'Cause don't forget, most of the players in the Warrington team know what it's like to play in front. Someone played at Wembley.
Yeah, of course.
They all know what it's like to play in front of a crowd. So it's not a case of the players not knowing what it's going to be like. It's just more how much can it boost South Shields, and obviously they've got this massive home record that they've been, as much as the 21 wins came to an end, they're still unbeaten at home, and I think it's a tough one. I'd be more than happy with a point, I think.
Oh, I would as well. I think if you offered the lads a point now, I think they'd definitely take it. Whether South Shields would take a point, I'm not too sure. But I think if you can come out of this game unscathed, and I think Nantwich at home to Scarborough or something like that. Let's say if they get beat, and then if Warrington then go on and beat Nantwich, you can almost not knock Nantwich out of contention, but you can certainly put a big dent in them, can't you?
Well, look, I think one of the interesting points now is because South Shields slipped up against Grantham, Warrington could go 5 points ahead of them with a win. Now, I'm sure that's probably not being talked about, but that's a massive opportunity at this point of the season. Now, South Shields may also be worried about that, because they've now got a bit of doubt creeping into their mind, because they've dropped points at home, which is their fortress. They've been beaten away by one of the a pretty poor Grantham team, albeit under new management. They're sort of thinking, well, hang on. If Warrington get an early goal on Saturday, the fans are going to be getting twitchy because they're thinking.
Yeah.
And they've already had this, don't forget, this season, because they started pretty well, and then they had a real drop off.
Sort of October, November, wasn't
it? And obviously that was, certainly away from home. Obviously they were always winning at home, but and it's like maybe that'll start creeping in. That sort of doubt will start creeping into them. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. If you can get 4 points in the next 2 games, then
I think it's
Nantwich at home is actually. I'd probably even say Nantwich at home probably a bigger game than South Shields one.
You think?
Yeah, because I just think if you lose to South Shields away, it's not as much of a blow as it would be not beating Nantwich at home. Because obviously you don't expect to win away at South Shields, but if you're not winning at home any home game, I would if you want to win the league, if you're not winning any home game, you've got to be disappointed, haven't you? Because that's your best opportunity to win your home game.
Yeah, I get that.
And it remains to be seen. Like I say, now I was on the MPL show last week, and we were all sort of saying that about Nantwich. Everyone's been expecting them to drop away, but it's still there.
They're not doing,
And it's like you can't just assume that at some point they're going to go, because they might not, and then that's how teams sneak through and pinch it.
You've got to take your hat in a way, haven't you? I mean, because nobody expected them to be up there. I think of the teams that are up there at the moment, South Shields were obviously the pre-season favourites. They were expected to waltz through this league like they have done the 2 leagues below. It's not quite worked out like that. Scarborough up there, they were expected as well to push them all the way.
I think Scarborough have been massively disappointed, because I think, there was a point before Christmas that I thought they were just going to run away with it, because they got to the top. They played a few more games, but it felt like they were building momentum, and all of a sudden the wheels just completely fell off. I think they lost 5 out of 7 or something, didn't they? And it was just like, that's a disaster for them, really, because they don't want to be in this. Well, they don't want to be in. They're a former football league, but they don't want to be in this league. South Shields are coming at it from the other angle, because they've never been this high before, and they're building themselves back up, and and then obviously you've got Warrington. I remember the conversations in the summer where Warrington weren't really expecting to do much. You were looking like if you could make a push for the playoffs, you'd be pretty happy.
I think a lot of people expected a sort of, not a transitional year, but a sort of, we'll see what we can do kind of year. But then you sort of looked at the squad that they've put together, and you think, hang on a minute, they could build something pretty special if they can get this group of players to knit together. But it's, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one.
I think I'm getting to the point now where I'm sort of thinking, if they don't go up this season, how many years can they keep putting together decent teams?
Will you ever have a better chance?
Yeah, because it's like, because of the play, we saw it last season, because of the players that you've attracted, they're not going to stick. They're potentially not going to stick around for the next few years because they all want to play at a high level. Now, some of the ones that are a bit older may, but you would imagine because of the way they've been playing, you'd be able to get a gig in National League North or whatever. You know, prime example last year. You know, Williams and Goulden went straight to Oldham and they went up.
Yeah.
You know, McKeown ended up in Scotland somewhere and whatever. You know, there's a few other players as well that obviously went here, there, and everywhere.
No one moved down, did they?
No, and that's what I mean. And all of a sudden you were left with, what did we have? 1, 2, 3. You know, you had McMillan, Tony Gray, Jay McCartan, Dylan.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't really have much left. Can you rebuild that? How many times can you do that?
It'd be a big ask.
You know, I'm not doubting the ability to do it. I mean, in some ways, you could say, well, how many times does Paul Carden want to do it?
Yeah.
Because you would presume that he wants to manage at a higher level, and he's done a decent job at Warrington. And it's like, you know, I suppose you'd look at players like Jack Dunn. Would you be able to Garrett it? You know, there's not. Reality is, if they don't go up Garrett, he's not going to be playing for Warrington next season. I think
there's probably a case saying if they do go up, he may not.
Well, yeah, they may well be, yeah. So I just think now you're getting into that territory, aren't you, where I'm not saying it's make or break at all, because obviously, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with just being a solid Northern Premier League club. No. Ultimately, in some ways, it's out of the club's hands, because it's like, does the town deserve or want a team that plays higher up? Because ultimately, at some point, you know, if they do go up, you're going to need to see a significant increase in the crowds.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're just not going to be able to compete.
No, you won't be able to sustain it, will you?
You know, and it's like, and that's the thing now. It's almost getting to that point. Is you're looking at, well, you know, look at South Shields, look at Scarborough. Warrington are massively punching above the weight, really, against teams like that. Yeah. And it's like, at some point, you've got to try and, I don't know, it's going to be hard. Obviously, don't get me wrong, it's not going to be easy. I think Warrington's best chance is by winning the league. You don't want to be getting involved in this super playoff nonsense, but then, you know, we saw last season that, especially as well, because you don't know how long the title, that's another thing that maybe we haven't touched on, is you don't know how long the title battle's going to go to. Imagine it goes to the last day and you get pipped, and then you've got to go through, you've got to win 2 playoff games and the super playoff to go up.
Yeah.
You know, and last season Warrington ran out of steam, having not really been in a title battle, because we knew 5-6 games before the end of the season that they weren't going to win the league.
We started to pick up injuries, suspensions.
Yeah, and obviously the Grantham just absolutely rolled over them.
But they played a young team. I think they finished the game with Liam Goulden, who was 21, and Matt Makinson, who's 17, 18.
Yeah, I mean, they just
centre half against the Grantham side that were
they just ran out of bodies, and it's like, you know, our Scarborough looking at it now, thinking we'll just pace ourselves a little bit here. I mean, Gainsborough are only a couple of points behind them, but you just don't know whether Scarborough might look at it now and think we're going to find it hard to turn around this 9 points, whatever it is that they're behind.
Yeah.
Do they just try and make sure that when it comes to the playoffs, they can beat whoever?
Yeah.
In a one-off game away from home. Having said that, if Scarborough have to play away, Tuesday night trip for them anyway is going to be pretty tough.
Yeah, it is.
Same as South Shields, to be fair.
Yeah, of course.
I suppose that's the other thing, is if you don't win the league, you want to make sure South Shields win it.
Yeah,
because
you don't want to cop for them in the playoffs, do you? You really don't.
You know, ultimately, you either want South Shields finishing second if Warrington aren't top would be the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, because then you can finish wherever you want. You're going up there. You know. But yeah, it's all building up to be very tense and very exciting for sure. Will be, well, I'm sure James will be at all of them. I will be at as many as humanly possible.
I mean, I'm even missing Witness this week, which is unheard of.
Wow, he's truly caught football.
Now Easter Monday's certainly going to be the. We're still in the title race on Easter Monday. That's going to be the.
You're going to have to, aren't you?
That's going to be the. No, I'd imagine I'll be at every game from here on in.
I think that Easter weekend for me will be.
We'll be in both. Oh no, the football's on Saturday, isn't it?
So I'll be Rugby Friday, football Saturday, and I think I think I'm free the Monday to do the football, so I'm sorted. But we're probably going to do one a month of these, I'd say.
Yeah, we've decided to have a little bit of a change in format, mainly because Matt's only part-time. So, so what we're going to do, we're going to try and do a monthly show moving forward, probably towards the start of the month, maybe, where we look back at the previous month, we look ahead to the following month. We'll get a guest in, so we want to get cards in. I'm desperate to get cards in because I want to talk to him about playing against Ronaldo.
I think he's desperate to come in himself.
We might have to do 2 takes because we get on a tactics truck, get him in here. But yeah, we'll try and do some interesting ones with various people. Obviously, maybe pull some players in. We'll do one with Toby. We might do some fan ones even at some point. But we'll try and get into a routine of doing them at the start of each month. Moving forward. But yeah, thanks for all your feedback and for sharing and for watching, and subscribe to the channel and follow us on Twitter and all that palaver.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll both be at South Shields on Saturday, so if we see you up there, we'll see you there. Enjoy it.